What's up, guys? It's the Cristian podcast starring me, Song 920, and Cristian Inferno. And today we're going to talk about a creepy phenomenon called the Tulpa phenomenon. And so what it is, basically in short terms, it's a self-induced hallucination that you create yourself. Why you'd want to do that, I have no fucking clue, but if you want to do that, maybe you'll know how by the end of this podcast. So they have plenty of videos online, and there's a lot of tutorial pages that are like, this is how you create a tulpa. And basically it involves just thinking hard enough. Like, you have to really think about it. Like, basically you gotta basically talk to yourself. It's honestly pretty weird. Like, you have to talk to yourself and think about a response to your own questions and the stuff you say. And the point is to see results in about a year. So you have to do this for like a year, and the point is to have a full-on imaginary person that you can see and hear. And once you do it, it's like really hard to get rid of that hallucination. So it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of creepy.
I think everybody kind of has an inner dialogue, don't you think?
Yeah.
So what's the difference between talking to yourself and responding to yourself in your mind, or do you have to like say it out loud? Is that ever specified?
I don't know. Like, I think you do have to say it out loud. I think, like, literally have to say it and expect a response that you're not going to get a response in the beginning, but after doing it for like 3 months or something, then you might actually like get a response, which is crazy. Like,
so what do you get a response from exactly? The imaginary person?
Yeah, first it's gonna start off as auditory. It's only gonna be you're only gonna hear its responses in the beginning, but then you gotta imagine what it looks like, and if you imagine hard enough, basically, then it eventually will show itself, and it'll actually have a physical form that you can see. But it's like really hard to do, and it takes a long time.
Do you know anybody who's done this?
I know a YouTuber who's done it, but I don't know anyone in person.
Can other people see it?
No one else can see it but you. And there's people on the forum who say that other people have seen it, but I don't think that's true. I think it's only you.
But there's people that have said that it's true and gave their testimonies on what happened and shit.
Yeah, like if you go on I forget what it's called. I think it's just called like tulpa.com or something. You can see a bunch of people talking about it. Like, they're all just like, yeah, my tulpa's name is this, and he acts like this, and blah 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 blah. And it's just crazy. Like,
so can they hurt you or do anything to you that affects you? You know, physically, mentally?
I think they can affect you mentally, but I actually don't know. But I know it can't affect you physically, but it can. Apparently, it can feel like it's affecting you physically. Like, it like slapped you or something. I think you could feel that, but it would all be in your head.
Well, if you can feel it, then obviously it's real. You can't fake feeling. Yeah, you can't fake your nerves being triggered by something that's not there.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, maybe you are creating something that has some sort of physical abilities. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah, it's definitely wild. I wonder how that all works.
I don't know. I've been watching a lot of videos about it. Like, it's really interesting. Because
Have you thought about trying it?
No, I don't want to try it. I don't, because that shit's creepy to me. I don't want an imaginary. I've always thought imaginary friends and shit were creepy.
Well, what is its relationship to like substances and stuff like that? Is there any connection?
Relationship to what?
Different substances, mushrooms, cannabis, anything like that.
I think the general consensus is that, like, hallucinogens just can speed up the effect that you would already be doing without them, like, not that they make your mind like stronger or something, but they put your hallucinogen part of your brain into overdrive, so like it only makes sense that it would increase the effectiveness of Tulpa.
The thing with hallucinogenics for the most part, it depends, because all of them are different and react differently to people, but the more, like, especially with stuff like LSD and mushrooms, the more you do it, kind of like the less effective it's going to be, and the less you're going to get out of it. So if you were eating mushrooms or dropping a tab every single day, like, you probably would stop getting anything out of it at a certain point. I don't know too many people that do mushrooms like every day or something like that. I've done a fair amount of mushrooms and acid, and maybe a little bit more than a fair amount, but it's always been, do it, then you wait,
and
then I'll
stop
wait
for a while.
Wait a while, do it again, wait a while. I never like went and straight up just like back to back or something like that. Like, so that's why I was wondering, because it sounds like it's a long process and everything from what you're saying. So that's why I was wondering if it had any effect, because you wouldn't, if you're going to take hallucinogens, most of the time at least most people it wouldn't be like something that they do often.
Yeah.
It'd be something
I'm pretty sure it would just. I'm pretty sure that would speed up the process. Either it would speed up the process, or
was there anybody that talks about that?
No, I didn't hear anything about like.
Okay, so
effect.
So you're just making assumptions.
Yeah, I'm just guessing. Like, I don't actually know.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if anybody talked about it.
Yeah, like.
Well, what are some famous? I heard about them once. How do you pronounce it? Tulpa.
Tulpa. Tulpa.
I heard about it a while back, and I heard people saying, like, I don't know if you remember the two girls that lured their friend in the woods and tried to kill her, saying Thunderman told them to do it.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
A lot of people. I heard people saying like that was a Tulpa, and that Thunderman's a Tulpa.
Yeah. What? That's the thing, is that Thunderman can be a Tulpa if you think about him. Like, say you're thinking about Thunderman 24/7, like all the time. Eventually, he's gonna manifest into your head as a Tulpa if you're thinking about him that much. Like, and eventually you might be able to hear, not that Slenderman talks, because I've never heard of Slenderman talking, but like you might be able to hear him and talk to him and feel him, like eventually. If you're really obsessed, then it could have that effect on you. And I guess that could go for anything, but especially Slenderman, just given how he is. So that is pretty creepy.
But
like,
it sounds like you have to, from what you said, you have to literally like make questions for yourself and respond to them. I don't think a little kid's gonna do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it sounds like you have to go out of your way and you have to do a lot just to see any results.
Just
You have to
to
do it for a really long
get
time,
results.
and you have to
Yeah.
know what you're doing, and you have to like actively do stuff. Sounds like it'd
Well,
be
I
pretty
think
hard to accidentally do it.
I don't
Am
know
I
though,
wrong?
because if you're that obsessed, you might be doing this stuff unintentionally. Really.
Yeah, so it's something that people subconsciously do.
I think it's possible to subconsciously do it, because I feel like kids' imaginary friends are just tulpas. Like, cause kids easily get obsessed with shit. So like, I don't know. I think it's possible to make one and not really think about it. I don't think an adult can accidentally make one. I think that's a little, unless you're like, I don't know, autistic or something. Honestly, I don't mean
Well,
that in a mean way, but
has anybody that was talking about them, did any of them say that they have, you know, mental disorders like schizophrenia or any different types of psychosis or anything? Because
um, one of them had like, one of them had a history with like mental illness, but like didn't really go into it. Like he
okay,
kind of,
so
so
that kind of
yeah, I
makes
feel like
it
that
a null and void. That kind of goes against your kind of goes against everything right there.
yeah,
It,
that
it hurts
guy.
the point. It hurts the point. Is what I'm saying. Hurts the point of somebody that believes in it or agrees with it. Because if
Has mental illness.
yeah, because then you can't take their word for it because
Yeah, that's true.
that's kind of a what's the word that I'm looking for?
I mean, it's just
It skews the
counterproductive.
results
Right?
of the uh, of the theory.
Yeah, I mean that guy. I mean, who knows? Maybe all the people that talked about it could have had a mental illness history or something.
Well, I
But
would
that's
say
the
a
only
fair
guy.
amount of people have mental illness. I would
Yeah,
say most people have mental illness that is going right now. That is probably going you know, undiagnosed.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't know what the chances are of there being an entire forum of all people that just so happen to be mentally ill. Like,
I would say
I don't
the
know.
chances are pretty large.
Yeah,
There's a
maybe.
lot of people. There's a lot of people. So if 3,000 people get together, considering how many people are in the world, a couple billion, maybe more than that.
Yeah, more than that.
So 3,000 people getting together out of billions. Yeah, that's not. That's pretty easily to be a coincidence. Is this Iron Maiden?
Yeah, I mean, it could be like a phenomenon that is entirely made up of mentally ill people, but like I don't know. I feel like there's some truth to it. I feel like it's half and half. I feel like there's some mentally ill people and there's some people who've genuinely done it.
So you haven't. It's piqued your interest, but you don't want to participate in it. Explain that to me.
Basically, yeah. Well, it's interesting because I guess just because the human brain is interesting, like just creating a self-induced hallucination is like really interesting to me. And I like to hear other people's experiences with it, but I wouldn't try it just because.
Well, from what I've heard, like you can make a lot of different things by just thinking about it.
Yeah, I
Our
mean the
brains are
human
pretty
brain is
powerful.
powerful.
You can you
Yeah.
can picture if you picture your palms bleed. Stigmata. If you picture your palms bleeding, and you do it intensely, and you picture your palms bleeding for a certain amount of time, eventually your palms will literally start bleeding. like a
Yeah,
stigmata.
that's true. That's
Like,
probably
it's
what's
proven
going to
that
happen.
it's proven that can happen. If you picture your hands pulling blood and bleeding like a stigmata, it will happen if you do it long enough. And you picture it intently enough. It's already it's a proven fact that happens and that you can do that. So I think it's saying that I think that goes into what we're talking a lot about mysticism. Our brains are very powerful, and we can do a lot of different things if we think about it intently.
Yeah. But it's crazy that our brains can do that. Like, basically, just make something that doesn't even exist, like, at all, exist. Well, not something that doesn't exist, but something that isn't there, be there. Like, that's just crazy to me. And I don't know, it's just scary. Because, God forbid, I hear something that isn't, or see something that isn't there. Even though that's happened to me before. That's literally happened to me multiple times. But if it happens, I don't know, it's creepy. Like, if it's a person, see, if it's like you're imagining or hallucinating something that's an object or something, or just not a living thing, I feel like that's a lot different from a person. Like, seeing a person that isn't there is, like, really creepy to me. Like, I don't know.
I agree. Kind of off topic, but I was listening to a story yesterday where it's kind of like the story was, I clean up the government's messes, and it was just, kind of like a random guy, just, real normal, nothing really special about him, doesn't have any special talents or anything, and they get him and basically hire him on to a government agency to, essentially, do Men in Black type of stuff, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
And, it took because I was thinking, if I was in that situation, I'm about as anti-government as you can pretty much get, really. And I was thinking, within a week of me with the going in one case, I probably, depending on what it is, whatever I'm trying to hunt down, I'd probably be scheming with it and be like, all right, and try and collect as many of the things the government doesn't want to get out there and have them on my side and try to fuck the government up. Yeah, that's what I would take with it. I know for a fact that's probably the angle that I would take, so it wouldn't be too great. And it was kind of like, eventually it's kind of him saying, like, he was tasked to track down somebody who was literally in his position before. And he's like, you started off doing this, and eventually I got tired and said I can't do it anymore. And they sent you after me now. And then it was kind of him going like, him saying he's changing. But here's the thing is, I know for a fact I would go in there with the mindset, I do everything they tell somewhat. I'd probably be lying to them the entire time, because they'd be lying to me, without doubt. But I would definitely have it in my mind that if they tasked me, if there was somebody that I felt could help me in any way, actually, fuck the government up. If there's somebody dangerous and they shouldn't have let them get out, I would instantly team up with them, and I'd be like, let's fuck these people up. Like, they did this horrible shit to you. Let's fuck them up. But they wouldn't hire me for that position because they knew that I was compromised right away. Because they're not stupid. They would know instantly that I'm there to, that the only reason I'm there is to try and fuck them up, and...
Yeah, that's true. You probably wouldn't be able to hide it for very long.
Yeah, they probably instantly know. Yeah, I would say they probably instantaneously know that I'm trying to sabotage them, because they probably know what I guarantee. They've listened to all of my conversations. They're listening to this. They know what my mindset is.
Yeah, and they probably wouldn't hire you in the first place if that was how.
Yeah, no, they know my mindset. And the reason that they might hire me is so they can make me do shit that they know I don't want to do, and that I would do it just so I could further my. They would try and manipulate me, and I'm sure they would do a pretty good job at it.
Yeah. I mean, probably.
And I could probably think I'm in control of what I'm doing the whole time, and I guarantee that they are playing the fuck out of me, and that the whole time I'm getting fucked up. I'm not doubting that that's how it would go down. Because it fucking would.
Yeah, they'll make you think that you're doing something out of your own, like, your own ambition, and turns out you're actually just being their puppet somehow, some way. Like, let's make him think he's getting what he wants out of this, but he's actually just completely doing what we want.
Yeah, that's smart, you know. But they're not too smart that you can't fuck them up. It's hard to fuck them up, and you have to basically do a lot of stuff that you don't want to do, and it's pretty hard to fuck the government up because they think shit through.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
even when you expose them, they pretty much always play it off like, you know, la la la, you know. They always play that shit off.
Yeah, like you're fucking crazy or something.
Yeah, there's so many people that expose the government and shit, and yeah, they don't get nothing.
It's either they don't really get anywhere, honestly. Like,
yeah, because
some people do.
Here's the thing: the people that obey the government either A, think they're part of it and think they're helping, B, know what they're doing, don't care because it's not happening to them, or they are like absolutely brainwashed and they don't really have control over what's happening to them at all. And then there's people that think that they're doing something and they're actually getting, you know, manipulated and fucked up, and what's happening to them is actually what the government wants to happen to them.
Yeah, I really wouldn't want to work deep in the government because it's like you can't even tell your closest friends what's going on. Like, and if you do, who knows what'll happen to you?
Yeah, no, I disagree with the fact that they do and what's crazy is that's like one of the beauties and one of the horrible things about creepypastas in general is sometimes you genuinely can't tell whether or not something's like an absolute story or if, like, you know, some of it is actually true. It's pretty hard to tell.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting that a lot of creepypastas are true, but what I'm saying is, like, what is the CPA, right? What is that foundation? The foundation that has all the crazy monsters.
SCP Foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be crazy. I think it'd be crazier to believe that something like that doesn't exist.
Yeah, right. I'm sure something like that does exist. It may not be called the SCP Foundation, but I'm sure something like that exists.
And that's kind of what, like, the
it makes too much sense.
There's already been proof that they're mutants, you know, because all a mutant is somebody who, you know, we're all mutants, you know, in one way or another.
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean by definition?
We all have went through genetic mutations, and that's why we're different in the first place, you know. So we're all mutants one way or another. So, like, in the story, one of the people that he was tasked to get was a guy that could basically make earthquakes to a certain extent. And I guess they, you know, put him through a bunch of stuff, and that's why he was able to do that. And he was tasked to kill him because he escaped. He's like, yeah, I'm sure were experimenting on people and turning them into monsters. And then when they get out,
Yeah.
they kill them, or they take them back and, you know, abuse them more. Fucked up.
Yeah. I'm sure some shit like that is happening. Obviously, we wouldn't hear about it, but we're too curious of a species for this stuff to not be happening. That's how I see it. It may not exist yet, but since it's based on science, that means it's based on reality, which means it could very well be real. So, I don't know, it's interesting.
It's one of those things. But yeah, no, I would love to be able to have a power like that where I can just summon dark flame.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Like in the Infamous games, if you've ever played those.
Yeah,
like
pretty much. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I would love that. I wouldn't hurt people with it. I genuinely believe I would use it responsibly.
I mean, I definitely fuck up people I didn't like, but because who's gonna stop me? Like, in all reality. I mean, obviously, there's probably people that can stop you, but like the people.
Yeah, exactly. There's other. If somebody has powers of some sort, then other people have powers, and I'm sure there are a lot, and I'm sure that the government has already talked to all of them, or they're part of the government, or they're under close watch to where they know that if they have an outbreak, that something will happen to them, and they will be stopped very quickly. And I'm sure it's like one of those things. You mess up one time, they won't let it slide, or they let it slide and you do it again, they kill you. You're done. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. The people that genuinely have the abilities, government probably has already talked to all of them. And I mean people with genuine abilities. I don't mean like people from like Stan Lee's Superhuman. I mean like the show. I mean like genuine powers. Like those people have probably already gotten talked to by the government.
Well,
it's super tinfoil hat, but like, you know.
What's crazy is, a lot of us could have natural abilities that we have,
tapped into.
Yeah, or that we've been made to forget, or, there's a lot of things. I was talking today, it only takes a couple things for, they have beta block or stuff like that can block receptors, so what's the theory that they can just block some of your thought process to where,
or maybe naturally some people are just tapped into this stuff, like.
Yeah, no, it could be something that I'm sure everybody has crazy abilities. I was reading something the other day too, with kind of, there's always the theories about mankind and that, we're kind of supernatural beings.
Yeah.
And, supposedly we are Neanderthals. We're kind of, a failed experiment, and we have the DNA of the gods in us.
Yeah, I mean, look how much we've been through. We're always there. Like.
Yeah, so, I'm sure the gods, or whatever, the aliens, whatever you want to refer to them as, I'm sure they have crazy. Anytime you hear about them, they have crazy abilities. So,
yeah,
we have consciousness, and I'm sure the only thing that's stopping us is the fact that, look, you have things like religion that tell you not to indulge in certain things because they're bad for you, but is it that they're bad for you, or is it that they're bad for whatever is telling you that it's bad for you?
Yeah, that's true. One
You
way
get
to
what I
think.
mean?
Yeah.
Because look, drugs have basically ruled the world and made the world what it is today. Without drugs, you know, drugs, alcohol, that stuff kind of has had a pretty big impact on everything that is today.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's a lot of it is once you're on alternative thinking, you know, just seeing things a different way, and they tell you that you shouldn't do that. Why do they want you to not think? Why do they want you to not think in a different way or see things in a different light? Why would they not want you
I say
to
go
see
for
things
it.
differently? No, there's an obvious reason and there's an obvious narrative as to why they want you to see things in a different perspective than everybody else.
Yeah, because I want you to see it like everyone the fuck else, I guess.
Because it does no benefit to them if you
hurts them, if anything, but
yeah, that's exactly what I said. Is if it's no benefit to them if you're not easily manipulated, or if you aren't easily manipulated, they can at least say that you're crazy. So people that do stuff, most times they just tell the people will say, well, they're crazy or something like that.
I mean, anything that alters your state of thinking basically means you're instantly crazy.
Yeah. Do you think that psilocybin and mescaline and all those things that are natural, dimethyltryptamine, do you think that those are illegal because they have adverse health effects? Because they don't. So they're not looking out for you, saying, well, this could hurt you. This is detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
They're not doing it because of that.
Detrimental to your health. They just don't like anything that alters your thinking in any way. Like, I guess you could argue that alcohol is like legal though, but I don't know. I don't really know what the difference is. I don't really know why alcohol is.
Alcohol was illegal for a while too.
Yeah, that's true. I don't really know what made them like.
Because they were losing. They ended up losing money with because they ended up losing money. So then, when they thought they were going to lose a lot of money, they were like, "Well, the people are doing this anyway, so we need to make money off of it."
Yeah, I guess they just bit the bullet. They were just like, "Fuck it."
And because a bunch of gangs and stuff like that were actually making it harder for them, so anytime something doesn't benefit them, they instantly pretty much say, all right.
Yeah, and they have to be making money off of it. So I didn't even think about that because I was like,
yeah, look at marijuana, look at cannabis being legalized. You know how much they tax the fuck out of that.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's like everyone does it anyway, so you might as well make it legal and just make us make money off of it.
Yeah, that's probably why opiates like heroin are being legalized, because they make a lot of money off people dying off the shit. They make a lot of money off people dying.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There's 0% chance that they're going to change it because they're making a lot of money, and it's just like them in healing diseases. Why would they heal cancer when they can basically keep you alive and make a lot of money off of you that entire time, draw it out, and then keep making money off you for years to come? Or they can heal it, and then, then they're not making money off of you.
They lose an entire,
they lose a giant piece of the market.
Yeah.
If anybody hasn't noticed yet, the government cares about their assets and what can make them money in what benefits them. They don't care about the people, what benefits the people, or what can help their people. They don't care about any of that shit. They care about their assets. They care about what is beneficial to them. And when we talk about the government, anyway, we're talking about the top 1%. Anyway.
Yeah. So why would they care?
Because the government is run by corporations and people that have all the money. And I would say the government are puppets to a certain extent. The government are puppets to people that are really in charge. And the people that are really in charge is the people that, the top 1% that have all of the wealth. And they call all the shots. And it's like the same thing with fuel-efficient cars. They've literally made... There's a contest I think GE does every single year where they make cars that run off of different forms of power. And they go and buy it. Like, they bought all the... they bought all the patents for, like, solar power cars, water power cars, cars that run off of, waste and shit. Yeah, they've made cars that can run off of pretty much anything. There's so many cars, we could use renewable resources so easily, make it cost efficient, and make it, to where it makes sense, but the people that own oil companies, and that's a lot of money in oil. There's no way that they would let that happen, because there's too much money in stake, and they're not going to let their money. They're not going to let their businesses, their empires, to just go nowhere. It won't happen.
That's why. Like, I've always thought like oil was like fucking primitive, like. That's just what it seems like, and it probably is in their eyes. But we're using it anyway, because money.
Yeah, they don't care. They make a bunch of money off it, and they control people. And it's used for foreign tactics too with other countries. We can go in somewhere and say we're doing something, and use the guise of oil to go in and basically fuck people up.
Yeah.
So why would they do that? They use it as a diplomatic thing as well. So basically, if we use renewable resources, there's nothing for them to gain and everything for us to gain from it.
Yeah, exactly.
And does that sound like something people that are rich and have everything, they could have people that's the thing about people that have money, they could have everything and it's never going to be enough for them because it causes more problems than it solves, if you ask me.
Yeah, like, and you bet your ass that if one of the people who are truly in charge gets like fucking cancer or something, that they will.
They're cured.
Yeah,
they already have a cure for it. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure they have a cure for it. I'm sure. Have you ever heard of billionaires dying? I can't think of any billionaires that I've heard of dying.
Not really.
Have you? And from all of them, from what I've heard, all of them were probably old fuck.
Yeah, a lot of them are
From
old.
Companies that we don't even know, we've never even heard of, from things that are just like, that we never even heard of, that they own. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's
companies that, like, basically run shit that's, like, never even heard of. I don't even know what it is, like a 0.1%.
Yeah, right. I don't know, the cancer thing is really the most fucked up thing. Like, because they have...
All cancer is just basically, rapid... Cancer is a mutation. It's basically just your cells clumping together, is it not? Your cells growing too rapidly and clumping together, and then it causes a whole bunch of other adverse effects.
Yeah.
I'm not a biologist where I understand everything about cancer, but I'm pretty sure all cancer is a genetic mutation where your cells grow too rapidly for your body to handle.
Yeah, it's some shit like that. I mean, I know it's a little more complicated, but like, it's the base of it. I don't know. Just imagine the money that they're making off of, like, treating cancer. Like, it's probably unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
Insane
Think of all the money that they get for researching cancer.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a number that's like
insane amounts of money.
Ridiculous. And how much money's been poured into it? So you're telling me that they haven't made any leeway at all? Because I mean, I've known both of my grandparents, both of my grandmothers had it. They both beat it, or whatever, went into remission or whatever. It was fine.
Yeah, but that's good.
No, but the fact is, I think that have you ever heard of, like, if they find it early? I feel like it's always like, oh, it's okay if they find it early or whatever. But have you ever heard of? It seems like they don't have any new stuff go on with it at all ever.
What do you mean? News.
Like, I never hear any news about it where they say like they've made an advancement or anything.
Oh,
it usually seems like it stays the same all the time, and they instantly people just skip money at donation after donation. That's probably the most donated thing. Cancer research. Yeah, we can probably end that topic. Because we were gonna go full circle. There's no getting out of that topic. It's a horrible thing. I don't know. Tulpas that's a crazy concept. Technology is crazy. The fact that we can, I don't know. It's all confusing. Our minds are powerful things, and I think it's crazy. It's hard to describe. I don't have any answer. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy what our minds can do. Like,
I think you should try it, man.
I don't have the dedication for that.
Try it, dude. We can both try it and document it.
Nah, I'm good.
The Christian Night Tulpas.
I mean, I guess it's kind of cool.
Happen?
I guess it's kind of cool to have an imaginary friend that can be however you want it to be.
Were there any horror stories about it? Were there any people? Was it all positive feedback? Was it negative feedback?
No, there's some negative feedback. Like there was one guy who said like his tulpa just like belittled him and just made fun of him and just said horrible shit. And he didn't understand why his tulpa turned out like that. Like, which is like,
is there a way to get rid of them once you make them? Was there anything like that?
I don't know. Like, I heard it was hard to get rid of them, but I didn't hear how to get rid of them. But them being hard to get rid of implies that there's a way to get rid of them. So I don't know how that is. I could look it up. Oh.
Yeah, look that up. Cause, so it was just like making fun of him, and that was it. There was only one negative feedback. So what are some of the positive feedbacks? Are they all just kind of indifferent?
Most of them were really just like, oh, I wanted to do this because I thought it was cool, and it turns out it is pretty cool. And I didn't really hear any like legitimate like positives, like objective positives that were like, it's good because of this.
I do. If there's no way that there could be negative consequences to it, I do. If there's a big chance for there to be negative consequences, I wouldn't do it. Because if something has any risk involved, I'm probably not going to do it because I don't feel like dealing with that.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's always the risk that you don't treat it well enough and then it just hates you. Like, that's a thing that can happen.
You don't treat your imagination right?
Yeah,
So
like,
does it follow you around? Is that what part of it is?
basically, yeah.
Or does it only go when you're by yourself?
I think it's there at all times. Like, I don't think you can pick and choose when it's, like, not there.
So that could be really confusing and really, really irritating and bothersome if you're in public and something's talking in your ear and you're gonna look like. So that sounds like somebody with a mental disorder at this point.
Yeah.
So like somebody who's schizophrenic. That they're having a conversation with somebody that's not, or multiple personality. I don't know what all the different classifications of mental disorder, but I'm sure there's a mental disorder that somebody sees somebody and has conversations with people that aren't there. That kind of sounds like that.
Oh.
So
yeah.
So what you're saying is actually we're creating a mental disorder here.
Honestly, yeah, that's kind of what it is.
Okay,
I don't
interesting.
And if you're, like, say, because it makes sense that it would get angry at you if you're not treating it well, because, like, say you go a year giving this thing nothing but attention, like an hour a day or something, like you go like a year doing that, and then all of a sudden you stop giving it attention, it's gonna start not liking you.
Yeah, well, it'd be obviously it's a reflection of you too. It might be a piece of your subconscious that you kind of a piece of your ego that you
it's
much
like
that your ego becomes basically a thing of its own, and if you basically be neglecting a part of yourself, and of course if you neglect yourself, it's going to negatively affect you in other ways.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, that sounds horrible when you put it that way.
Like, in the long, unless I can't think of anyone who would want to deal with that permanently. Like, I imagine everyone would want to get rid of their Tulpa at some point. Like, I don't think anyone would want to just always have that, like, all the fucking time.
So what that kind of makes me think, the fact, like, I'm just picturing myself at work when somebody's asking me, say, you finished this, you doing this, what are we doing here? And then I have something else talking to me, talking about, I don't know what I would tell my Tulpa, but I'm sure it would probably be something about what I do, like, in my free time, like art or music or, sports or something. And then it'd be talking about, like, I think the Portland Trailblazers are gonna do pretty good tomorrow, and then I'm hearing that in my ear while somebody's trying to tell me something, and then I'm thinking, and then it's gonna keep saying something, and then I literally look next to me, but there's nothing there. I'm like, I don't care about the Portland Trailblazers right now, and then everybody's gonna look at me and look at me like I'm a serious lunatic because I'm talking to nothing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm imagining.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Like, that's a problem.
And that would make social situations a lot harder too.
Yeah,
and
that would. Yeah,
like,
it really would.
Around my daughter, she's gonna have her dad talking to the air. And, that's not a good look for her. They're gonna make fun of her. Your dad talks to him, so.
Yeah.
Don't listen to them.
It just no matter how you put it, it sounds like you're just crazy.
Yeah, because I mean you are.
Yeah, I mean you kind of are. Like, literally schizophrenic shit. Like.
Yeah. So how do we know that schizophrenic people don't have tulpas?
Yeah, that's true. Some of them. They probably do just flat out have tulpas, and they don't like it. You don't see schizophrenic people. If schizophrenic people try not to be schizophrenic, you don't see them like taking pride in it or some shit. So,
a lot of
why try and be like them?
Yeah, a lot of them, I'm sure they don't know, or that nobody chooses. I guess people do choose to have mental issues.
But this was the
Yeah.
Christian Night podcast, guys. Hope you enjoyed. You guys can experiment with the tulpas if you learn something. That'd be cool.
Report
But
back to us how that
yeah,
goes.
yeah.
'Cause we're not doing
I
it.
I'd be very curious to know how that went for you if you tried it.
Sounds horrible.
Yeah, we will see you guys. We'll probably see you guys sooner. This episode took a little while because we hadn't recorded in a long time. So we'll see you guys sooner this next week.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for listening, everybody. Sorry for the really horrible accent, guys. It was horrible.